Hello, my name is Zach Sims. I'm a cadet here at Detachment 290 at University of Kentucky. And today I'm doing a little bit of video for the summer orientation course where we're putting out videos to better prepare the cadets coming here next semester. And in this video today we're going to be talking about a few things, with the first being kind of the introduction to leadership, and then the next talking about some of the expectations we have here, and then after that talking a little bit about teamwork. Something you probably heard a little bit about, but it's just something I want to go a little bit more in depth about as to what that means here at the detachment. So starting off with the introduction to leadership. I don't know of any bigger topic that you could get than the topic of leadership. I first had it to where I had a few bullet points written out for what exactly I think leadership means to me, but it's not simply just listing out bullet points. And that's kind of like the big reason as to why I guess a lot of people, well, most people come to ROTC to become an officer in the Air Force, but then they get a whole bunch more than what they're bargaining for, in that they are becoming a leader, or at least for recognizing how they've already been a leader, which I'll talk more about in a second. But ROTC, the mission of the Air Force ROTC program, is to develop leaders of character for tomorrow's Air Force. That is the big mission of ROTC, is to create leaders of character for tomorrow's Air Force. And so in this introduction to leadership, I'm just going to talk in small ways about it, because that's why you're coming to ROTC and spending 4 or 5 years to figure out exactly what that leadership means to you exactly, because it's different for everybody. Everybody has their different styles of leadership, and the process that I went through, what I've learned in the past 3 years now, I'm going into my senior year, what I've learned in the past 3 years, it just keeps on showing different things to me that I just didn't recognize beforehand, and it's a lifelong process. And one of the terms coined by our current commander, about to be our past commander, is to be a lifelong learner. And I think one of those things you need to be a lifelong learner towards is leadership, and to be a student of leadership for your entire time. But nevertheless, on to what leadership is. So leadership, in the simplest terms, to me, I guess I would say, is that leadership is influence. And whether if you like it or not, you have been a leader, and you've also been a follower multiple times in your life, being led by people or things or social media platforms, but you have been led at some point as well. And the first kind of recognition I guess I had of what leadership was when I started to recognize exactly what was influencing me, what was leading me in my life. And that was a big question for me as I was going through high school, exactly what was leading me. And for the most part, it was probably not the smartest things, whether it was social media or something like that. It was something else that didn't really have a bigger meaning that was leading me. So I had to take a look at what was influencing me in my life, and that made me kind of crack down on what exactly that was and what I did want to lead me in my life. And that's kind of like the first question I have for you in this introduction to leadership, is just what exactly has been leading you for your past 18, 19, 20 years of your life, and start to try to figure that out and try to figure out if you're happy with that. I'm sure there are good and bad influences coming from that. Rather be if there's a certain person in your life that maybe is elevating you and making you a better person and being a good influence on you, and they're leading you to a better life. There's maybe some people who are not influencing you well and maybe taking you down a path that you don't want to go to. But if you can see, by asking that question and answering that question and seeing exactly what's influencing you, what things or what people, the next question is, or the next thing to see, I believe, is exactly your capability to influence other people, your capability to lead other people. And that was probably the next question. That was the question that shocked me a whole lot more than what was influencing me, is how am I influeing other people. And you might not see it now, and it took me a while to see it as well, exactly how much influence I have on the people around me, including my parents. If I have a bad day, if I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and you can kind of see that snowball to the rest of the family and just your household. I'm sure you've seen that with maybe your other little siblings or stuff like that, how if they have a bad mood, the rest of the house has a bad mood. And I guess that's not like your not your normal idea of leadership, but as with anything, there's good and bad leaders. Bad leaders with bad motives and bad leaders with good motives. Good leaders with good motives and good leaders with bad motives. And no matter if it's good or bad, it's still leadership in some way or form. So it's still some way or form of influencing you. So then that's the next question, is just, how do you think you have been influencing other people in your life? How do you think you have been changing people's life on a daily basis just by your normal actions? Just by the way you carry yourself through your high school and your football teams, your basketball, softball, baseball teams, or your academic teams, in your ROTC unit, whatever it is. Exactly how you think you have been leading those people around you, influencing those people around you just by your presence, and how well you carried yourself on a day-to-day basis. And when I took a step back and answered that question for myself for the past 5-6 years of my life, or the 18, 19 years of my life, when I answered that when I asked that question, I sure didn't like the answer of it, because I didn't think about that stuff, about how exactly I have the power, the capability to affect other people, and affect other people in not only a positive way but in a negative way. And how if I don't wake up with my best smile on my face, how that can negatively affect the people around me just by having that bad attitude. So you see exactly how you've been influencing other people, and how maybe your bad day turned into a few other people's bad days. And the way you influence other people is, I think, one of the most crucial things to look at in your life, is what is your impact on other people that you encounter. And that is not just the people you encounter on a daily basis, whether it be your parents, your siblings, your best friend, or whoever it may be, your cousins. It's also the people you meet on the streets, or meet as a stranger in a restaurant or something like that. You have the capability to put influence on them, again, just by the way you carry yourself, just by the way you act around them, the way you behave. And that's where the leadership becomes bigger and bigger, is when you start to realize your true capability, your true power to influence people, to lead people, to maybe, sometimes you just lead them to a better day. But then it also comes into the bigger aspect of the extent of that you can go to. You can lead people to not only a better day, but a better life. You can lead them to something that they never thought was possible. And that's where the greatest gifts, I think, of that human endeavor of leadership is, where you take people to a potential they didn't really see in themselves. That's what I hope you find here at the ROTC Detachment. And then as you start your military career, I hope you truly get to see how much influence and impact you can have on people's life on a daily basis, just by the way you carry yourself and hold yourself. How much change you can bring to somebody's life. How much change you can bring to an organization by your actions. So on to the next part of the video, and that part being the expectations that we have at Detachment 290. And the expectations we have are very, very simple, and they are the Air Force core values. If you do not know them, you will learn them very soon when you come here. It is what the entire Air Force's foundation is based off of. And the Air Force core values being integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And I know those are pretty simple, small statements, but we find meaning in them in literally everything we do. So just starting off with integrity first. As you can probably guess, it's doing the right thing. It's doing the right thing when no one's looking. It's doing the right thing when people are looking. It's just doing the right thing regardless of any situation, of any place you may be at, any predicament you may be in. It's doing the right thing. Integrity first, I also see it as meaning it's staying true to oneself. It's not letting yourself fall to any substandard that what you could achieve. It's always pushing yourself and never letting yourself cheat on anything. Simply, I see one's integrity as one's character. It's how they hold themselves at all times. You can tell a whole lot about somebody by the way they carry themselves on their worst days. You can tell a whole lot more about somebody how they carry themselves on their best days. Everything that you do, every action that you have, it means something. Every action you take, every decision you make, either builds or tears down a part of your character. And so always holding true to that integrity first mindset, and always just sticking to what you know is true, will get you very far. So on to the next one, the second core value, which is service before self. When you think of service before self, you probably think of it in the big ways. Those people who put the greater good, the lives of their teammates above their own life. But service before self can be found in the smaller ways as well. It simply is respecting the people around you and setting aside your differences to put the greater mission at hand above yourself, above your own ego, above your own views, and above your own opinions, but working together for something greater than yourself. The third and final core value is excellence in all we do. We are constantly trying to achieve our best in all of our endeavors, in all aspects of our life, in the big ways and the small ways. For if your job is to fix an airplane or just to fix a leaky pipe, we strive to treat those equally and give them both the utmost care and attention to detail. For if we can achieve greatness in the small aspects of our life, that will translate to the bigger picture. That constant hunger for perfection is what makes us the world's greatest Air Force. In summary of the three core values, we have integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. These three core values are the foundation of the U.S. Air Force. And it is the expectation of every man and woman that joins to take them to heart fully and to live them out every day of their life. So for the final part of the video, the topic is going to be teamwork. And with teamwork being the combined effort of a group of people towards a common goal. Now my experience with teamwork, and maybe yours as well, was teamwork in my high school teams and middle school teams and stuff like that was simply to defeat an opponent, to beat a rivalry school, and that's it. That's how deep that common goal went, was just to simply defeat an opponent. And that's where the Air Force, the U.S. military, kind of sets itself apart for me. Because easily it has been the best team I've ever been on, simply because of the mission, the common goal that we're all fighting for. The way the U.S. military sums up teamwork is one team, one fight. Now for our common goal, it's not just simply defeating an opponent, but defending something. Defending something greater than any enemy that we could ever have, greater than ourselves. This being defending the Constitution of the United States and everything that it stands for. Freedom and justice and a path to a more perfect union. As spoke about by former President Barack Obama in a speech back in 2008 regarding that phrase, a more perfect union. We find that our nation is not perfect, but it is that path towards a more perfect union that we will always strive for. That path towards a more perfect union is endless, as it should be. We should never stop looking at what we can do better to focus on what we're doing right. We should always be focusing on what we can do better the next day. And with that, that's where I see that we find the solution to our problem. The greatest asset of our military is and forever will be its people. Without its people, we do not have a common goal. Only with its people are we able to defend the Constitution. Only with its people will we be able to achieve that more perfect union. So it is the people that we focus on. Again, the mission of the Air Force ROTC program is to develop leaders of character for tomorrow's Air Force. That is our common goal here at Detachment 290 and detachments across the United States. It is its people, bettering its people and turning them into leaders. Not only will you reflect on yourself more than ever, in that pursuit to becoming a better person, a better follower, a better leader, you will do the same for the people standing next to you. We might not like each other at times, but we respect each other no matter what. We set aside our differences by embracing our diversity and having each other's best interests at heart. We see that our team success hinges at our individual character. We strive to reach our full potential together. We look at our fellow airmen's successes and failures as our own. For we are one team, together in one fight.